name's Dean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is February 15th, 2025. And Bitcoin has yet to move. Our altcoins have yet to move. But our larger trading thesis remains, okay? And I'm going to show you why, although we've had very little activity, the little activity that we have had has been quite encouraging, right? Very little activity, granted, but if you look, and you don't even have to look that closely, both Bitcoin and altcoins are proving our larger trade thesis. All right, and it's not so much if, but more when. And I'm also going to address the when in this episode. If that sounds interesting to you, then watch until the very end. Let's get started with Bitcoin as per usual. All right, on the 4-hourly time frame. So this is the idea here. You've been at this level, right, where you've been putting in what I've been saying is an ABC zigzag move, okay? Again, ABC zigzags are one of three corrective patterns according to Elliott wave analysis. The zigzag is comprised of an impulse, a sort of counter correction, B wave that's in the opposite direction of the impulse, and then a final impulse. We're waiting on that final impulse. Last we spoke, we were around here and we were talking about this B wave retracement still being valid, not invalidating the larger thesis of this being a zigzag, because this B wave zigzag came in between the 0.5 to 0.618 Fibonacci retracement level of the A wave, right? And it just barely kept within those constraints to maintain the definition of a zigzag, because the definition of zigzag isn't just an ABC where A and C are impulses, but also the B wave is constrained to the 0.5 to 618 Fibonacci retracement level of the A wave. And like I said in last episode, because we didn't breach the 0.74, based on my experience, that still counts as just a simple wick of the 0.618. That being said, we're still here. So basically all we've done was slowly and painfully just matriculate up and out of this. So here, look at this as a channel, which it is. It's a channel, right? There's your midline. All we did, it's not unimportant, but we did it very slowly. We went from the bottom of this channel all the way to the top, retested the midline. As you know, you can never leave the boundaries of a channel without retesting the midline. We went up, broke the channel finally, and then what do you know about the last move that has to happen before you leave the context of a channel? Before you leave the gravity of the channel, you have to retest the top or the bottom as support or resistance. So if you're bullish, meaning if the move is up, you're going to retest the top previous resistance as support before moving. So if you really want to look at Bitcoin and what it's been doing these past, what, it's been three days now, yeah, 3.5 days, is essentially just that. Bitcoin has been putting in the necessary moves to break this channel. Let's draw it up nicely so everybody sees, in case my hand-drawn price action is difficult to follow. So let's do this quickly. If I can find the tools, I always struggle to find these. All right, here we go. Parallel channel. All right, so here's the parallel channel in question. As you can see, it's really regular. I mean, it's kind of undisputable. that this is a parallel channel. It is what we call a bull flag, yeah? So it's down and to the right after a flagpole. So that's your flagpole. This is another way to explain a ABC zigzag. This is your flagpole. This is your flag, or pennant, some people call it, okay? So again, matriculating out of this channel, just like any other channel that we encounter in technical analysis. And this is helpful because it's consistent. There are a few things, in the world of technical analysis where you have so many inconsistencies, so many unknowns. It's really helpful to grasp principles that are regular. And that's why I keep mentioning it, because if you can catch on, then there's at least something you can hold on to. And in the sea of unknowns, there's something that you could say, well, I know that much, okay? Even if it's just that little bit. All right. So again, from the bottom of the channel to the top, retest the midline as support, leave the boundaries of the channel finally, and then retest the top of the channel as support before leaving the channel. And let's make that solid. So this is what we're doing here. So for people like, oh, what's Bitcoin doing? It's so confusing. It's really not that confusing. Is it nerve-wracking? Is it annoying? Is it really frustrating because it's taking so long? Sure. But it's not that confusing if you understand channel trading. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, our target is still a million times, yes, 108. Why? All right, so many ways. Let's count them. First and foremost, let's say you just looked at this as a bull flag, right? I just mentioned you can see this as a bull flag. Well, how do you target how do you make a technical target for a bull flag? You take the size or the length of the flagpole, superimpose it from the site of breakout, right? Something like that, and you get the take the flagpole, superimpose it from the site of breakout, and you get the target for the bull flag, which is again around 108 to 110 ish. Okay, that's one way. The second way, if you want to be more technically precise and consider this, if you're an Elliottician, as an ABC zigzag, you do your Fibonacci extension of the A wave, retracement of the B wave. Let's let it catch. There we go. Retracement of the B wave. And then you target your 1 to 1, 2, 3, 6 Fibonacci extensions, because we know the ABC zigzags, the C wave targets the 1 to 1, 2, 3, 6 Fibonacci extension of the A wave, retracement of the B wave. And that is your target right there. And then the third way is simply by understanding that you have an almost 90-day parabolic resistance here and an almost 50-day straight line rising wedge resistance there. So once you hit that, you're going to reach some sort of resistance. So that's around 108, 109. So three ways confluence, that's our target. And like I said before, the time that Bitcoin takes to go up to that target is all the time we have in altcoins to go up to hit their respective targets. Because once we hit that 108 target, all bets are off for continued upside, for continued positive matriculation for Bitcoin price action. We're then expecting a move down, and it could be our massive move down, so you have to de-risk. So I wanted to make this video mostly not just to update Bitcoin, because I mean that's kind of, nothing's really happened, although little bits and pieces of price action have happened, but more importantly to let people know how and when to take profit on these upcoming altcoin moves. Okay, so how and when to take profit. So the first way is just like I said, wait and see when Bitcoin gets to our target, 108. You don't have to rush, but one could set an alarm, for instance, at this level. So we can do that here together. So you can set an alarm, and even the free version of TradingView has alarms. I think you only get 5, but you still have alarms. And you just add an alert. Boom. Once that hits, you should get an email. You can configure it to get an email to ring perpetually or whatever. In any case, that's one way. Okay. The other way is looking at the Bitcoin dominance chart. We all know Bitcoin dominance is a measure of Bitcoin's dominance against altcoins. Bitcoin dominance going down, that means altcoins finally gaining against Bitcoin. So we're expecting that to happen in the time that Bitcoin matriculates to its target of 108. And again, you can see that here. I've shown this chart before, and this price action, this to me, I'm not going to rehash it completely, is an A, B, C flat correction in the making. And thus far, it's playing out like that, okay? On the weekly time frame, which is about to close in a few hours, we have our stochastic RSI that's overheated. So we're expecting it to round out, okay? On the daily time frame, we have already started going down, okay? And so you can see here that there's something here. Let's zoom in. Let's go on the 4-hourly time frame. Let's look at this. So there's something here whereby Bitcoin dominance is breaking down somewhat. We haven't had any straight line drives down, but thus far, as I said would likely happen, we've broken this triangle, retested it as resistance, and started slowly matriculating down. So when you see these stair steps, two things. One, it may be a prelude to the straight line dump or the straight line pump, depending on which way you're going. Or it could be consolidation for a reversal, okay? In this case, does this look like consolidation for a reversal, or does it look like preparation for something like this? I think it's the latter, okay? One, our stochastic momentum indicator, stochastic RSI momentum indicator, is completely topped out on the 4-hourly time frame, letting us know that, okay, you're likely to experience some sort of correction of that momentum indicator to the downside so that resets. Another thing is, having looked at the price action, understood that this is a breakdown and retest, lost support, new resistance, lost support, new resistance, right? Because you can look at it again. There's a reason it's stair stepping. That's basically what I'm trying to say here. If you look at this level right here, it's just a bunch of previous levels of support being flipped into resistance, which is the definition of a trend, right? Of a bearish trend specifically. So here, levels, you're just looking at levels. And if I want to be more accurate, I would draw these with rectangles because levels are not discrete lines, but you get my drift. Here, breakdown, retest as resistance. Breakdown of support, remember, that's now a support level, right? Because 2 touch points right here. Breakdown of that support, retest as resistance. Breakdown of this support, retest as resistance. So if you look at it that way, these are the reasons I'm thinking that this move to the downside should continue in that way. If it does continue, how is it relevant to our looking for a target for when to take profit on our altcoin pumps? Well, aside from obviously charting out your specific altcoin, which you should probably do in addition to all of this, here's another way that you can more accurately understand when to take profit on your altcoin positions. When Bitcoin dominance reaches its next likely support. As you can see on the weekly time frame, it's very clear here. This is a rising wedge. I mentioned this before. This rising wedge, if it does break down, it should break down and target the base of the wedge, which is the technical target of a rising wedge. Other reason is this is our previous resistance flipped into support. Not really, but there was an effort to flip this into support. You come back to previous resistance, now is a new support level. That is around 49%. When Bitcoin dominance, and you can see here I have another alarm, Bitcoin dominance gets to 49%. So right now we have two indicators for when to take profit on altcoins. Bitcoin dominance gets to 49%. The Bitcoin gets to its target of 108. Now, understand that this Bitcoin dominance indicator, is a little more accurate than Bitcoin getting to 108, because what can happen with Bitcoin getting to 108 is it may get there and then it may go, it may kind of hover there. Okay, it may get there and hover there. In the time it's hovering, altcoins may continue to run. I don't know exactly how it's going to run, but if it's hovering, they can continue to run. So again, use a confluence of these indicators. Bitcoin to 108, you're on high alert. Bitcoin dominance getting to 49%, you're on high alert. Last but not least, and again, this is all in addition to your respective altcoin chartings, right? You should be charting your altcoins respectively. We'll probably do one right after before we sign off. Bitcoin, the TOTAL3. So this is another reason you should be encouraged, despite the really slow, sort of not really confidence-inspiring price action in the past 3 days. So, look, for the past 12 days, okay, it's been about 12 days, almost 13 days, actually, since this capitulative move, right? This big move to the downside, right? You can see 13 days plus. We came down here, and ever since, we made a strong move up and started consolidating therefrom, okay? And this consolidation, you can track quite clearly, right? So big bounce, and then a counter or a correction. And that correction started turning upwards about a week ago, or sorry, let's see, about 9 days ago. This correction started turning upwards, okay? And in so doing, you're basically seeing the same thing we saw in Bitcoin. It's basically just two things that are happening here. You're consolidating at a bottom, so you're creating a bottom, right? 2 degrees of AB basing and a pivot, or 3 pairs of AB basing, or Wyckoff accumulation. Doesn't matter how you want to look at it. This is a consolidation post correction. So this is your big bounce up, and then this is the correction. This is the consolidation post correction, reaccumulating buyers. Okay, so that happened, and now you have to leave this Wyckoff accumulation channel, if you want to call it that. How do you leave it? Once again, from the bottom to the top, retest the midline, leave the boundaries of the channel, and then the last thing you have to do before actually breaking free is retest the top resistance of the channel as support. This is exactly what altcoins are doing. This is why you should be encouraged. Despite the really lackluster, seemingly random and aimless price action that you've seen in the past 9 days, and specifically, in the past 9 days, you should, if you understand price action, you understand you're going exactly where you want it to go. So the smart traders are buying here, and preparing and understanding that the next likely move with a high degree of probability is up. And up where? Okay, this is where we come to our third indicator letting us know when to take profit. If this indeed is true, we're basically going to do exactly what we did in the previous example, but on a higher time frame. So we're looking at leaving the boundaries of the channel and then retesting the midline, right? Because we can't really leave the gravity of the channel without retesting the midline. The other thing we could do is go up modestly to the top here, okay? And so this is an aggregate, total 3. It's basically all altcoins minus Bitcoin minus Ethereum. So it's hard to say exactly what everything's going to do. If that happens, that's very modest move. That's a 50% move, right? To the top of the channel. And then coming back down to the midline, which is a 22% move. It's possible. But here's why it's not really my target. My target isn't the top of this channel, only because we're understanding where Bitcoin's at and understanding that if it does go to 108 and then start its descent down to our really highly probable target of 65 to 70K, that isn't enough. This 45% move isn't enough to get altcoins out of the way. We need to go all the way up here at a minimum, which represents from here in the aggregate again a 3 to 4x for altcoins. This is why I'm saying this would be my target, around 3 trillion. I've said this before, this is very clearly a resistance point, 3 trillion right here. And we have this larger inverse head and shoulders, bullish reversal pattern. The neckline more specifically is down here. You take the height of this inverse head and shoulders, superimpose it from the side of breakout. You once again get your 3 trillion. I would target 3 trillion. So if I'm trading altcoins, and long, yeah, I'm betting on them going up, I'm taking profit at 3 trillion. So once again, I would set this as an alarm, and that's my third and final indication to take profits in altcoins. So just to recap really quickly, I've got my Bitcoin indicator, just basically Bitcoin hitting its target of 108K. I have the Bitcoin dominance indicator hitting the very probable target of 49%. And last but not least, I have this total 3 indicator hitting its target of 3 trillion. As promised, before we get out of here, I'm just going to show you one quick example with one altcoin. I didn't think of doing this before, so I'm just going to pick one at random. I'm going to obviously pick one that's on support because, as I've said before in previous episodes, not every altcoin is going to hit those targets. I'm talking about specifically the altcoins on support. Let's use BAT, which stands for basic attention token, okay? And this target is going to be, in my estimation, up here at around $1.94, okay? And again, you're looking at basic attention token being in a channel, okay? It's annoying, but at least there's some predictability. We're at the bottom of a channel. We move up. That's not enough because we move up. Yes, the first move is to move up and then to come down, retest the midline of this larger channel. We get it. But we're looking at the even larger move that breaks the channel and then retests it as support, okay? Or, and this is also possible, we can go straight up and out of the channel, come back, retest the midline as support, then leave, test the top. This can happen a number of different ways, but the safe target for basic attention token is your previous swing high at 194. Okay, that would make it from here an 11x thereabouts. You see, we understand that there's variability, there's unknowns as to how it can work. We understand channel trading insofar as we know that we're going to have to retest the midline, right, as support before leaving the boundaries of the channel, and then the top of the channel as support, right? Those two things have to happen. But then it begs the question, how do they happen? Do we get this? Possible. Or do we get this? Also possible. In any way, this is very likely a target. So that would be my target. It wouldn't necessarily be dilly-dallying with these targets because I just don't know how we're going to matriculate up and out of the channel. I just know that at some point in time, with a high degree of probability, we're coming back to the midline. And likely, if we do move from here, I can expect for this swing high to be resistance and for whatever move to come out of here, retrace in a large way because I know what Bitcoin is likely to do when it leaves where it's going. That's it for me, guys. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was useful. Like, share, and subscribe if you got value. Consider tipping me by Venmo, Cash App, sending me Litecoin, all at the pinned comment below. And do consider my crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation service, all at the pinned comment below. You can sign up one-on-one with me 1 to 2 hours every month. I help you choose 5 different assets that are actually going to pump in the bull market. Entries and exits. We haven't really had any opportunity for exits. I get it. But once we start moving, you'll see there are opportunities to take profit. So all that's at the pinned comment below, guys. Thank you,
while the world
and
spins
see you.
without me.
Bye.
Arrived at the fork in the road, could turn back, repeat the same story, or march forward and embrace change and reflect upon its glory. I'm a selfish man, therein lies the whole problem. Torn between my actions and the will of my heart. I had to take it all apart to see where I stood as a man, to depart from this world and leave it in his hands. Come on. Looks like I'm heading for the gold, y'all. Touring on a pothole road, y'all. I get it even if I didn't fit in, winning right up to the end, and like I didn't even know, y'all. I have Pop's genetics, working hard never to get it, like shit I betted on letting life get the best of my efforts. Instead I dedicated to bettering my steps, measuring investments, watch me do it to the death, y'all. Run it.